Day in and day by, it's important that we inspire ourselves with the stories of our heroes and heroines in the field of academia, how far they've gone to reach where they are in the upper echelons. And today on Impact Stories, I will be bringing to you the second female Vice Chancellor of the University of Benin in Edo State, Nigeria, who has come a long way to cement her role at the top. It's not so easy to be there. So she has a lot to tell us about how she made such a momentous moment at that time, being crowned the second female Vice Chancellor of the great University of Benin in Edo State, Nigeria. So stay with me. I'll be right back and I'll let you know who she is. And as usual, we do talking her walk. Be right back. You're welcome back on Impact Stories, the program that celebrates the life and achievements of our academic mentors in Africa. And my name is Ajiman Ochodako, and today with me in the studio is Professor Lilian Imuentiyan Salami, and she is the second female Vice Chancellor of the University of Benin in Edo State, Nigeria. Prof, you're welcome to Impact Stories.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
A privilege.
For the benefit of the people of Africa who are always looking for fresh inspiration to inspire themselves on how they can push forward and touch their dreams, we are so glad to have someone like you join us on this program to share how you have come this far, the milestones, the hurdles you have to cross, the ups and downs of your life to this point that you are. So let's begin with the very past, the foundation of Professor Lilian Imuentiyan Salami. How has it been from the beginning?
Well, thank you very much. I have to go back from my beginning. I was born some 66 years ago to the family of Mr. Benjamin Imovo and Mrs. Alice Imovo, both of blessed memory, in the cold city of Jos, Plateau State in Nigeria. So I did my elementary before the Civil War broke out, and so I had to come back to Edo State, which of course is my state of origin. So I completed my secondary school, after which I went to the United States of America, where I bagged my first and second degrees. Within that period, I got married. I met the Mr. Right.
We'll be doing a more introspective look about how Mr. Right came into the picture.
Yes. So we got married, and then, of course, after my master's, I returned back to Nigeria, did my NYSC, and then took up employment with the University of Ife, the now OAU, Obafemi Awolowo University, for just 1 year. And then I had to, of course, meet up with my husband, who was then employed at the University of Maiduguri, up north in Borno State. And so I joined him, and then, of course, there I rose from the beginning as a graduate assistant and rose to the position of a senior lecturer. Of course, since we're not going right again in the country, so I had to return back a second time to Benin, and then I joined the University of Benin as a senior lecturer and grew through the ranks to become a full-fledged professor in 2005. And so that is where I have come to the end of, this history about going through the ranks and file and then becoming a professor in the University of Benin. Of course, after that, I had quite opportunities. I became head of department. I became the director of general studies. I became the director of part-time programs. I became the chairman of Uniben Enterprises. And then, of course, to crown that up, I became the very first female dean of the Faculty of Education. While in this journey, I was appointed by the federal government to head an institution as the Director General. Again, the first female Director General of the Institute, National Institute for Educational Planning and Administration in Ondo State. I was there 3 years into my tenure, my first leg of 4 years. I was appointed the Vice Chancellor of University of Benin, the second female after 35 years. and the first indigenous female to head the University of Benin.
That's a classic one, And let's take it back.
Yes.
They say people actually emanate from families who have, people who made it big in academia.
Yes.
From your family, would you say from your father and mother's occupation, you could also rise this far into academia?
Well, my parents believed so much in training the child, irrespective of the gender, whether a female or a male. So at least I was blessed. I'm the oldest of 18. But to say that academia runs in the family, my uncle, the immediate junior brother to my father, actually became the first indigenous vice chancellor of University of Jos, Plateau State. And then he was there 2 terms. Then he became the minister of science and technology, the pioneer minister of science and technology. And then he had other positions before he retired. Unfortunately, he passed on some 2 years ago. So he was so happy to celebrate that in the same family, you're having 2 generations of vice chancellors. And I think it's a rare occurrence in any family. So he was very proud, and he showcased me everywhere to say, my generation produced a vice chancellor. My immediate, lower generation also produced the vice chancellor. So I'm hoping that someday I'm also going to say the next generation also produced a vice chancellor.
History must only repeat itself
Exactly.
for you.
Exactly.
Let's take it also on this tangent where you were growing up. Some people grow up with this kind of determination. Okay, I really want to follow the footsteps of this kind of person because I admire where they are. Did you really want to be this person at that time? Did you have someone you were really following their style, their value, their steps?
I'll tell you, I had, like every child, I tinkered with a lot of ideas. First of all, I wanted to be a lawyer, and I was a science student. So my mother thought that something went wrong somewhere. It wasn't possible. More still, I think she had, of course, with all respect to, the law profession, she thought that it wasn't a profession that she liked her child because of this misconception that they can see white and turn to blue as long as you can argue it out in court. Then, of course, I also tinkered with medicine. Do I do medicine? I had the prerequisites. But I'm somebody who is so, I may come out showing as if I'm very strong, but emotionally I'm very weak. And so I didn't think I could empathize and be a good doctor, crying with my patients, So just at that point where I was in this confusion, a dietitian visited my school, my penultimate year in the secondary school. And I saw her with this white gown, the white robe, with, the name tag, dietitian. So she came and counseled that it was a profession. Yes, you could still manage disease condition, but not with medicine now, but with foods. And I thought that was it. That was exactly where. So I had to go this direction. So I went home and I told my mom, and she said, yes, you are not doing medicine, but you're still treating, individuals with food. And that was how I, jump on the bandwagon. And of course, today I'm a full-fledged, nutritionist.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So at the point in time where you torn in between going full-time into medicine and academia, at that crossroad, what was the biggest inspiration?
I think academia really didn't ever come into me that I was going to teach. I didn't think that it was a profession that I actually liked. But as I went on through my tutelage and then schooling in the US, I became a TA at a point. And I got, quite attached to the fact that you could really get close to students. They could be your friends. And so why not? And so that was where I actually made the switch that, yes, I wasn't going to practice nutrition as a nutritionist, having clinics and, interfacing with, but that I was going to do that in the classroom. And that I have done for some years now.
It is historically amazing that you are the second female vice chancellor after 30 years, 35 years
5 years, yes.
in the role. And the question is, how has it been with women career advancement in higher education in Africa? In your experience when you started the race, let's say, in academia?
Yes. Well, at the lower level, it wasn't quite visible that you still have to deal with societal values, the culture of a woman should not be heard or should not be seen. And so it wasn't quite pronounced at that level because I think at that level we're all, jumbled together. It was a potpourri of male, female. So it wasn't very difficult or pronounced. But of course, as a woman, you had your challenges. You had the home front to contend with. I had 5 children, though I lost one. So I brought them up. And then so I had to be a mother. I had to be a wife. And I had to also meet up with my responsibilities as, a lecturer. So it wasn't very easy, but I pulled through. And I think it was just mere determination that I pulled through. And incidentally, my husband also, was is in academics too. He's a professor too. So we tried to pull the responsibility at that time. Again, no person, I hate to say, make a general statement, but the burden is always on the woman. And so I'm happy that my kids are quite established now, and I thank God for that. Grown and on their own, and mommy has time now to do whatever I want to do, travel and be quite independent.
Stemming on the fact that you brought your children up, wants to take me back to your family. What were the values that you believed that you were able to out of your father and mother, and these values perhaps were great pillars for you as you were coming up?
Well, I think the person that actually would stand out any day, and even my siblings, if you were to ask them, they tell you I'm almost a replica of my mother's character. She was a very strong, strong woman. She was a no-nonsense woman. I will give you a good example. You wake up in the morning, and my dad will say to you, because my dad was the complete opposite of my mom. He was a gentleman, complete gentleman. And he will say to us, be careful. That woman, and that's our mother, I don't think she woke up from the right side of the bed. And so he will put you on strict notice that you had to be straight to your path, otherwise you're going to get her rot. And through to fact. The moment you crossed my mom, you knew you were done for the day. So she was very strong. And at that time also, she believed that she was the mother of every child in Jos. Those who grew up, my generation, will remember her and her Opel record car. Every time she was coming, she had a cane with her by her seat. And what was that cane for? Any child, she would look at her time. You should be home now, not playing. She gets out of the car and flog the child. And I used to say to her, are you the mother of every child in this town? And she said, yes, God created us mothers to be mothers to our neighbors' children. And so for those who grew up in Jos, if you tell them Mrs. Alice Emovo, I'm sure they will remember that woman whose car would always give you a warning that you had to run back home. So, and so my siblings will always say to me that I think you're a replica of your mother. Very strong will, very determined, and a no-nonsense. And my children then used to call me, Madam Thatcher. If you remember Thatcher of Britain. Oh, she's coming. So you have to all sit straight. And I think that pulled through because, like I said, I thank God for whom they are today, well established, and if I didn't do that, I see what is happening to children whose parents are more or less the laissez-faire, let them do anything. You end up, having kids that you may not be able to control. But I think that strength paid up for me.
Taking it on to the next level is your sense of perseverance that you've been able to share with us, that you are persevering and you have come this far with that perseverance. After completing your education in Nigeria, where you sought to go overseas and then advance and then come back and then do more in that. Let's look at some of the challenges that you faced going up and down, trying to upgrade yourself for this bigger position.
Yeah. Okay, well, right after secondary school, again, the whole idea, again, like every young child, every adolescent, I was worried. Now, which university do I go to? At that point, of course, I had the cross of, do I read medicine? Do I read nutrition? Do we have nutrition in Nigeria? So that was going through. And a cousin of mine visited from the United States of America, precisely the state of Wisconsin. And he said to me, why not just apply to the University of Wisconsin system? University of Wisconsin at that time had 18 campuses. So, and it was a pool, so you could just apply and then you're thrown into any of the campuses. And I was fortunate, and I say fortunate, to have been taken to Stevens Point, the campus, in Stevens Point. And I got scholarship.
Oh.
From nowhere. Never applied for it, and my admission came with scholarship. So it was wow. It couldn't have been any better.
Yeah.
And so I jumped at that, and that was how the journey started. However, like I said, it was truncated when I met my husband, and so I had to leave Wisconsin and join him in the state of North Dakota, where I completed my program.
So right at the point that we really want to go for, when we come back, we'll look at how the truncation came about with the presence of the Mr. Right, and then we'll take it on to her personally, how she enjoys life now.
Yes.
Stay with us, we'll be right back. You're welcome back to Impact Stories, celebrating the life and achievements of our cherished and illustrious academic mentors. And today I'm joined here by Professor Lilian Imuentiyan Salami. She is the second female Vice Chancellor for the University of Benin in Edo State, Nigeria. And Prof, I'm glad to have you back again.
Thank you.
And let's talk more about your publication. I learned that when you publish and then you are given the promotions and then you rise to the upper echelons, then maybe perhaps you're done with publishing. So let's see, in the life of the second female Vice Chancellor in the University of Benin, how is it like with publications in the past and now?
Before now, of course, like you know, and you have said, there is this slogan in the universities, you either publish or perish. And so by the time I became the Vice Chancellor, I think I had over 75 peer-reviewed journals. But I tell you, just like a lot of us, by the time you hit that, apex, you become a little bit lazy in putting up papers for publication. And so I won't quite say to myself that I'm different. I still, once in a while, because even as of today, I still supervise students. I still take 1 or 2 courses, and I teach, because I don't want that to fully, because it's something that I enjoy. So I haven't published a lot, but thank God my PhD students would always, once I review the publication, we add my name. And I say to them, don't put me as the #1 author, really. It's your work. Yes, I help to tutor you, I help to mentor, but at the same time, so I'm not doing lots and lots of publishing right now, because the responsibility of being a Vice Chancellor is enough and time consuming. So it's easy for me to just say, no, I can't take the added responsibility of publishing right now.
But more interested to some of your publications that you've done in the past, which one would you say had been the highest cited, that was most passionate from you in running that research out there?
I think the one that I did when I was in South Africa for my postdoc was where we actually developed meals for the very, very low, privileged ones. We actually fed people in the shelters. We fed people in Sharpeville, if you remember the South African War. And I think those ones actually stand out for me because they were quite impactful. And I thank God for the professor that I worked with there, Wilma. She was, really good and very passionate with working with these very less privileged individuals.
No, now you are the second female vice chancellor of the University of Benin,
Yes.
and it comes with its own privileges and, let's say, challenges.
Yes.
Can it run us through a couple of them that you're going through now?
Well, remember that nobody appoints you. You go through the rigors of being interviewed. And so when I applied, I think we were about 30 candidates who applied for and we were 2 females, and I emerged the winner so that was, of course, even during the campaign, it was battering. I mean, the campaign, there were slogans, there were discussions, there were all kinds of things. And I tell you, to my dad, I called the professor, the late Professor Imuvo, my dad, because I lost my dad quite some few years ago, and so he graciously stepped into that. So, and I used to go to him on 1 or twice. I said to him, I'm not too sure I want to continue with this. The battering was just too much. And I will tell you that it's a societal thing. It's a cultural thing. People would condescend to the level of saying, I cannot stand up for her. A woman, sitting on that. So it wasn't an easy journey getting to where I am. But having said that, and I think I have enjoyed maximum cooperation since I came on, but not without the downs. And the one that comes to mind very quickly was the protests by my students. And I think it went viral, not just globally, I should say, because we were running, or we have been running with, paucity of funds. And so the Senate took a decision that we're going to charge students for late payment of the school charges. And as the Vice Chancellor, of course, you get beaten by any, policy that comes out of Senate, because yes, you chaired Senate, you could have taken a different position. And so the student didn't like that at all. So when the protest started, first day I thought, oh, well, just like students, they'll go back. Because it wasn't increment, it wasn't charges increment. It was penalty if you didn't pay as at when due.
Yeah.
Because we needed to plan with this money. We needed to run the university. And so the earlier we got the money together, the better, for planning, for us to execute policies and. And so the students took this on for 5 consecutive days.
Oh.
And for me, that is an experience that I would die with. And the climax of it was that I was dragged out of my own living room, the Vice Chancellor's residence.
Oh.
Students dragged me out and said I needed to come and address them on the highway. Remember, University of Benin is located right on the highway. You just needed to take 2 steps. You are on a major highway leading to Lagos, And so I was dragged. Now I was even there, and they said, no, we have to humiliate her. She has to climb on the hillocks and address the students. And so this was viewed everywhere in the world, and it went viral. And till today, when I talk about it, it's something that I don't even want to relieve, because it's so painful that I've brought in so much development, but that was just thrown under, underneath, and then, of course, the student protests. But I'm also happy that something positive came out of that. And you ask how?
How?
Everywhere I enter in Nigeria, I hope somewhere, I'm probably going to have the experience somewhere outside Nigeria, I'm always recognized. Oh, that is the VC that was on the truck.
Oh, really?
So it has popularized me, and I don't see it as negative in that sense, because now it's like Professor Salami is a household name. And I wouldn't have been that if I was doing my little business in my university and nobody recognized that. But now it's like, oh, she showed so much, um, the right word to use here. She was very brave that she could do that because anything could have happened with a mob. I have about 60,000 students in the university. And yes, everyone didn't participate in it, but quite a large number. So to be in that midst, anything could have happened. It would have been mob action. So that has been the lowest part and the experience that, like I said, will live with me all the days of my life. But again, there are pockets of, disagreements here and there. But once you explain and you tackle, then you move on.
You know what? For me, I think it is an applause being able to hold that situation down. And
Yes.
today, you are hailed as the woman, the Joan of Arc,
Yes.
the University of Benin at the state.
Yes.
So, big ups to you.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about what you're passionate about. One of the biggest things that happened in your life was meeting Mr. Wright
Yes.
at the Dakota. So tell us about how that happened.
Well, he had come to school and we just met briefly, and somehow, it just clicked. We liked ourselves and decided it came hush, hush, hush. Whoa, you're going to get married, two young people. No, you have to. And not even with the concept of our parents, because our parents were far in Nigeria and here we are in America. So we decided to do our thing ourselves and we got married. And that, of course, union, became blessed with 5 kids, like I said. And then I lost a daughter at 35, but, so the other 4 are healed and hearty, and I have grandchildren. I have 6 grandchildren, and they're all doing well.
That's amazing.
So, yes.
Run us through your kids, 4 kids remaining now.
Yes.
What do they do now?
My eldest daughter, Barbara, she's the vice president of Moderna. And that's the Moderna,
Moderna, the vaccine that came.
Yeah, the vaccine.
That's wonderful.
She's one of the vice presidents.
Wow.
And my second daughter, it's an analyst, medical analyst. My third son, the eldest son, is a surgeon, cardiovascular, thoracic surgeon. And my baby he's in the arts. So he's in Microsoft, So like I said,
You really did very well to push them
yes,
to your other second love, which is medicine.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
So Professor Salami is the second female vice chancellor of University of Benin, but beyond that, she has love for so many things. So let's start with you in the kitchen and what you really want to do on that very, very gracious day.
Incidentally, I think that is probably why I look a little bit chubby. Let me use that word. I love food and I love to cook, but right now I don't have that much time. So what I now do best is to criticize rather than cook. But truly I love baking. Oh, I love baking. And even up to today, I can tell you once I walk into a place that this cake is done properly or it's not done because of the passion that I have. So I love baking. I used to also sew a lot. I made all of my clothes until, of course, again, this responsibility. So I look at my machines and I hardly climb them anymore. And then, of course, I love traveling. Traveling, a lot. And I have been doing that. I've done a lot of that over the years, And I hope that when I retire very soon, that I should be able to, do lots of more traveling that I have, quite a passion for.
Yes. If I visit Nigeria today, I will first order for eba and egusi.
Yes.
What would be your first to order, your favorite?
I think jollof rice and fried plantain with fish.
The original Nigerian jollof.
Nigerian jollof rice.
Splendid.
I'm still yet to taste the Ghanaian jollof rice. But everyone said to me, you must taste the Ghanaian jollof. So I have to.
So you have to also weigh the two. Since you're a good judge, you judge that.
Yes.
How about your favorite music? When you're on your very, very good times and you want to hear good music, what kind of music want you to listen to?
I'll tell you, I don't care for the I always tease people. I say, all you hear now, you're going to die, you're going to die. Yeah, I still listen to Carole King. Those music that really, the weddings. really take you into some mood, you want to get into. I listen to such music, classical,
Classical music.
really. I'm not one with this generation. Once in a while I dance to them,
Okay.
but I'm not the best because I really don't make sense out of the weddings. Again, that's just me, so yes.
You have such great love for sightseeing, and you've really done
Yes.
some traveling. Where would you want to travel back again just to feel the moment? If
I
you,
think I want to go to the Caribbeans. I want to be near the lakes and see how it looks, the beaches of the world. And I think that's probably what I'm going to do, post retirement. I'll do lots and lots of traveling. Yes.
what about the Caribbeans that really you love about?
I think I want to touch Bahamas. Not that I'm crazy, but I just want to see what it looks like. But Seychelles is where I'm going to go next. Any holidays I have now, that's where I'm heading. I have to go to look at the beach there. Yes,
That's amazing.
yes,
So it's been a wonderful time, and
yes,
with your wealth of experience,
yes,
when you meet young people,
yes.
what would you, or what actually are you liking to tell them about yourself, and what values and impact would you want to make in their lives?
I always, and I have said this on, I developed a platform for the female vice chancellors. Incidentally, we haven't reached the number yet, but right now we're about 14 out of the 218 universities. Yes, it may sound low, but we have come a long ways, and we hope that we'll get some more soon. What I say is let us mentor the girls, especially. Let us mentor the girls. Let's tell them that the beauty fades, but your brains will always remain. And people respect you for that. Everywhere I walk into, I don't feel intimidated. My head is always held up high. And that is not the beauty, it's the brains
Yeah.
that I want to flout around
Yeah.
and say, this is me, the
Flamboyant.
vice chancellor.
Yes.
So, and I hope that our young girls will look at that and say, beauty is not it. It's what you can make out of yourself, how you can add value and positive value to your societal growth. That is what is going to last longer beyond the beauties that come and fade.
If you were to take a retrospective look at what you have done as the second female vice chancellor of the university, that you would take a deep breath and say, yes, I've arrived.
Yes.
I've done that. What would it be?
I think, do I have really won? But if you go to the University of Benin today, and if you meet the first person you meet at the gate, and you say to them, what is the contribution that this Vice Chancellor has done? And what you're going to probably hear is that she has brought back seniority to the environment. She's brought back beautification, beauty. I love flowers. And if you come to University of Benin today, it's like you're in the paradise of flowers.
Oh.
And so the ambience, the homely feeling that you get, the quietness, the sereneness. And I'm very proud when I drive into campus, I give, thumbs up to myself and I say, yes, I'm doing it. And I still have some 2 years plus, and I hope that I will take the university to a height where it will be difficult for somebody to fill the big shoes I will leave behind.
That is amazing, so
Yes,
amazing. And that's an evergreen discussion we had over here about the life and achievement of Professor Lilian Salami. And she is the second female vice chancellor after 35 years in the University of Benin, Edo State. And she has contributed a lot to the university, creating the ambience of seniority and growth. And I love that word, the ambience over there. And that's where the conversation ends. See, a good conversation never ends. And we would like to continue because I know you're also caught in the web to listen. But where we end right here with the wonderful achievements you've made and the impact you made in the lives of young ladies. And they would forever remember you as an icon and also a legend. So, Prof, thank you so much for your time on Impact Stories, and I believe that you've also picked a few nuggets from her life, and one thing that she's persevering, Two, that she always believes in herself, and I believe you also captured that. To believe in yourself for the sky is just your standing ground. Have a nice day. My name is Ajimana Chudako. It was Impact Stories celebrating the life and achievements of our academic mentors. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you.